The next device we're going to talk about is the BGAN. This is your connectivity portion. Now we have 2 to 3 different types of connectivity that we can provide for you guys in the field. The BGAN is currently our standard that we push out for independent operations wherever the site may be. 1, maybe 2 laptops is our typical environment for this device. It's very basic. Where the Iridium is a multiple satellite geosynchronous orbit device, this is a geostationary device, meaning there's only one bird in the sky that this points to. It's not totally friendly in the words of setup. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but if you've ever tried to do a DirecTV or dish network where you're aligning the dish and listening to the tones and tweaking the dish up and down, left and right, then this is pretty much the exact same of process that you're going to do. Is you're going to peak the antenna strength, listening to the tone and looking at the small screen for your best connectivity towards the southeast over the horizon. I want to say it's 124 degrees south, roughly in the direction of the satellite. We can change different providers, and you know, depending upon where you're going to be, we can point to a different satellite for you for that device. But we've picked one that we're sticking with that works well for Haiti, Puerto Rico, the U.S., Hawaii, and other U.S. properties. Again, it's a data connectivity portion. I don't want to get you the impression that it's a DSL type speed. It's not incredibly fast. It's not the slowest thing out there either. But right now, for what budgets are and what we have available to us, this is the best connectivity portion on a satellite, non-terrestrial type device that we've got. The other component that you would have would be such as an air card. If you're familiar with like the USB devices or the slide-in full cards, that can also be sent out with your laptop equipment. Again, depending upon the environment you're going in. If you're in a disastered area that has no infrastructure, no cellular, we would send a BGAN or satellite component with you. If you're in an environment where you're receiving patients and there's no infrastructure damage, you'd likely have an air card. Obviously with the air card you'd have much greater bandwidth and more ability. The biggest component obviously is the front here is the antenna. You adjust the angle of the antenna with this back bar, and you just basically slide it up and down until you've got the vicinity, and then you just creep it left and right to adjust for peak signal. A very small screen here. It'll give you an actuation tone, and the higher in pitch you go, the more signal, and it'll also give you a data readout. Eventually it'll start to say registering. Once it's registered, it'll say data, and that gives you the connectivity portion to go. Now it would connect to your computer via a Cat5 connector, Cat5 cable, which comes provided both as your laptop kit and there's possibly a kit with the BGANs. Doesn't require you to do any configuration in the field or change any of the properties in it. It's strictly, when your computer looks at it, it just looks for detect internet connectivity device. That's all the computer thinks it has. So to the computer it looks as like a DSL router. That's pretty much it. It comes with the battery. It does have a typical battery life of roughly 3 hours at full use. That can also depend upon what your connectivity location is. So if you're up in North Dakota at Red River, your strength to get to the satellite may be higher, where if you were in Haiti and the satellite was directly overhead, would be less because it's less of a distance. It doesn't have to adjust so much for power. Probably the biggest, most important thing with this is not to set your laptop in front of the antenna and be working here while this is sitting here. This part typically needs to face away from any human bodies. It's not going to really cause anything short term, but over long term it'll dry out your eye sockets, and well, the report's still out on what cellular phones can do to you. So they're shipped typically in a Pelican case, and in the Pelican case are your connection cables and your battery and power supplies. It is somewhat weatherproofed. We've operated with them Haiti out in the blistering sun and the torrential rain. Again, it's not something that likes to be sit in a puddle. Typically when we take them out, we'll take the case and we'll put the case, put the device on top of the case. If it's in an environment where you can be up next to a tent and the tent can provide some overhead coverage, that's great. It doesn't need to be, but it obviously would like that more. There's some other incidents in Haiti that we did have some problems with them, and that mostly had to do with sand and dirt getting caked on the antenna. After it rains, the mud would splash up and you just wipe the antenna down. This too does not work in a basement. It doesn't work in this room. That's why I didn't bother turning it on. because it won't see anything, and everything I just described to you it won't actually do because it can't see the sky. It uses GPS technology to determine its latitude and longitude as well. So without that connectivity portion, if it can't see the sky, it's not going to work for you. It's like the Iridium phone. It won't work inside a building.